Right. I will see you. See you in a long time.
City is a difficult place to deal with.
Yeah. Let's have everybody come in here.
Cup of coffee that way.
I can just keep everybody on
Mr.
there.
Crosby makes a cup of coffee. Thanks for coming. No, it's not that. No.
No one minds me taking a sip of water before I start?
As long as you don't dip over to the
Yeah,
side.
don't lean over real far. Keep
Just
it
wanted to see who got it. That's good. All right, we're all on the right path here. As I said, 10 or 15 minutes here, and I am not a great reader of speeches, but I have jotted down some things because I don't want to forget. Because at 52 years old, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to get that where I'm forgetting things. So I like to jot it down, but I also just want to speak from my heart and talk about some things that I think are important. I want to thank Randy and Tammy Skaggs who own this place. And I love being able to launch a campaign from a business. Because to me, it's not about government buildings, it's about people, their families, and businesses that make America great. And ever since Obama said they didn't build it, every opportunity I have to say yes they did makes me feel good inside. So thank you to Randy and Tammy, and I'll tell you, they're the heart of America. They're the entrepreneurs that take all the risks to do all the things. So I thank them, and I guess they're somewhere back there, so I appreciate that. I also want to thank my wife, because here we go again. I guess 16 years ago we did this little endeavor, and at the time we didn't know what we were getting into. I think I still really don't know, and I think if you know too much you won't do it ever. So we just are jumping in, and I know my wife has better things to do, and my children have better things to do. But I got to tell you, the way I look at America and the way I look at things, I'm almost at a point where I really cannot not do it. Because then it's just hard to blame anybody else if you're not willing to take a stand. So thank you, Cassidy, my wife, sweetie, appreciate it, and our children. And my son Casey today woke up and he had something, man, and he just could not even get out of the bed. So sorry that my son Casey couldn't be here, but he's helping a lot, so I do appreciate it. Let me tell you, and one promise I want to make is that this is not about running and hobnobbing with politicians. It's not about making a name for yourself. I think, we're past all that in America. I think we got too much of that going on. I think we need serious people. We need mature people in America. And I don't see it. I don't see it on the county level, the state level, or the national level. There's no maturity anymore. And I'll tell you, I ask people all the time, would you run your household like you would the government? Or as politicians are running the government. And I'll tell you, it's 100% of the time people say no. So I scratch my head and say, okay, if it's 100% of the time, then why do we keep putting people, and why are we putting up with government being run the way it is? And we need to stop that. But it's us, that's right, it's up to us. We created the government. We can't look at it as it's something apart from us. It is us. So we got to get involved, and that's why I'm getting involved. It's been a long, hard thought about running for a local office, and the last time we ran for the state legislature. But the more I look at it, I really think we need to reinforce the local communities, because I see a major onslaught coming from dictates of the federal government down to the state, down to the localities. I've already seen it happening, and you can just see it in the environmental things that are going on. Some of these environmental issues are getting crazy, and they're pushing them right down to the county level. So I think at all levels of government and all levels of our culture, it's going to be forced down from the federal government all the way down to the county. And so I think we need reinforcements right here. And that's why I think it's important to run on the local level. And my job is to be a reformer, to change the way we're doing things, not to go along. So I actually may not be very popular, but that's okay. And I just hope that you all will stick with me on this, because we do need to change. We don't just need to go along with what's happening. Okay. 4 key points. I want to get right to them. I got 4 key points in my my campaign, and that's why I got the number 4 right there. Because the 4 one's going to make it very easy to understand. I'm a simple guy. The first one is the finances. And I told you before, the Bedrosian household, and I'm going to keep reiterating this in the campaign, The Bedrosian household does not run like the government. Okay? And I think all families need to consider how they're running their own families and look at the government and say, we don't accept the way you run. Roanoke County right now is $200 million in debt. Okay, $200 million. My family owes $14,000. A family of 7. And if we start looking at it like that and saying, whoa, $14,000. The debt service every year is $17 million. I was at a meeting the other night where they had the budget person was there, and I was asking a lot of questions. $17 million is our debt service every year. Now, I never really used to understand that my dad, my dad's 82 years old now, 83 he's going to be, he always used to say, watch out about this debt. I used to think, Dad, it's people. Watch out about the debt. Because debt snowballs at a point where it grows exponentially. And as we've seen in the federal government, it gets to a point where just the payments on the interest will zap every bit of money you have. So that's what it is. The gridlock that will happen, everything will stop. For things that need to be done, there will be no money. And I see that's going to happen at the state level, it's going to happen at our local level. $200,000, that's $200 million, that's unbelievable. And I was at a meeting once where supervisors were bragging about the fact that they had such a good credit rating that the debt limit would now be raised. They were looking at pushing it up. Now, just to give everybody an idea, and again, I want to relate it back to families because I don't like talking politics. Relate back to your family. It's like you've maxed out on your credit card, but you're making that minimum payment. And the credit card company comes to you and says, you know what? You're doing such a great job getting those minimum $35 minimum payments that we're going to raise you up another 10 grand. And so you just go and you spend the other 10 grand, and now your minimum payment goes to $45. And you think, you know what? I have such a good credit standing that they're giving me more money. That's the way they're thinking, and I think that's wrong. I don't know about you all, but that's we've got to stop doing that. We've got to stop financing. If one thing is so important to me is get out of debt. The Bedrosian family doesn't have debt. When we buy something and we have to finance it, we immediately go after it, get it out 10 months, 12 months, get that debt gone. We don't think like that. The county thinks just, we can raise the limit, we buy more stuff, finance it, we all look great, and the debt limit just keeps running up. Very, very dangerous. So not only about spending money, but the things that you spend money on. Okay, so it's two different things. There are things that government should do. There are good things that government should do. But they're the things that government should never get involved in. And here's where I may step on some toes. It is what it is. We have a Green Ridge Rec Center up in North County. It's the most beautiful building I've ever seen in my life. It's gorgeous. It's not the role of government. That's the problem. It's just not the role of government. It's a beautiful place. I'm sure people go work out. It's gorgeous. The problem is 30 million, 50 million, I don't know. I keep getting all these different numbers about how much that thing costs. It's wrong. It should be the private enterprises doing something like that. And that's a problem because that just goes on to our debt side. And what I hear is the operational costs are being offset by the dues. Operational. Capital expenditures, that's part of the financing. As soon as the building starts getting a little wear and tear, we're just setting ourselves up for a mess. We've got a library in Southwest County. There may even be a debate today about whether government should really be involved in the library business. With the internet and all this stuff, do you really need it? Most people I go are looking up on a computer or on Facebook or doing something else. But in a library like they have in Southwest County, it's ridiculous. I think that might have been another $20 million. We just really need to be very, very careful about how we're spending our money and what things we're dedicating money to, because it's going to hurt. It's going to come and hurt real big. That's the finance piece of it, and that's a big piece. The next one is personal freedoms, and I will tell you, there are many, many different issues here, cultural issues, moral issues. The one that I got very involved in was the prayer before the Roanoke County meetings. There may be a debate in our country about if we're a Christian nation or not. My belief is we were birthed a Christian nation. There's no doubt about that. What we become, that's up to anybody's decision to make. But we were birthed a Christian nation because the monuments they're knocking down and the things they're trying to remove, they're Christian monuments. So of course we were birthed Christian, because what are they removing? We're not removing Muslim or Hindu monuments, right? They're all Christian monuments that we're removing. But to me, it's very important that we should be allowed to have religious freedom in America. Okay, our Constitution gives us the right, free expression of, and nothing. The government should never take that right away. In Roanoke County, Wisconsin, another state altogether, came to the supervisors and said, hey, we don't like the fact that you guys are praying in the name of Jesus. We don't want that anymore. You need to stop it. I thought, wow. I actually looked up the person that signed the letter. It's a 22-year-old kid that just graduated from law school or something, or it's some intern there. I thought, wow, here it is, a young kid telling us, a bunch of grown-ups, how we should run Roanoke County in Virginia. But the supervisors all buckled. Well, the 3-2 vote, I think. I got to give credit to some. But they buckled. And now letters go out to pastors, and I got one of those letters, because I went to a pastor friend of mine and received it, that there are stern suggestions about how pastors should pray. They don't tell you you can't, but there are suggestions. This is the way. Don't mention the name of your deity too often, because we don't want it to be assumed that we are going a certain way. With all due respect, any government has no right suggesting even to anyone how they can pray. And to me, it's overwhelming. Now, the county will say, well, it's going to cost us a lot of money to litigate. Yeah, that's your job. Protect the freedoms of the people. Spend $50 million on a gym, or spend a few $100,000 protecting the freedoms of the people. And I think that's where we should stand in protecting the freedoms of the people. All right, my final point is the, well, my third point actually, is removing ourselves from organizations that we shouldn't belong to. There's a big push. I work in the private sector. I work for a big company that also gets pressure from the climate change groups, environmentalists. This is a huge thing that's coming down. Big, big, big. And even the universities that I call on and some other accounts that I call on, lots of pressure is coming down. Some of it is okay. I mean, I don't know. You know, if you want to call yourself an environmentalist, I love the planet. We got a great planet. We got to keep it clean. But it's not my God. And there are organizations that has become their God. And the dictates and mandates are almost unbelievable. And a lot of companies just, I can't do it. It's going to run me out of business. And those same organizations are putting pressure on Roanoke County and other counties to observe certain things and to go down a certain path. And I say to Roanoke County, we need to remove ourselves from any kind of outside membership in any outside organization. Roanoke County, we can make our own decisions. We know the sensible, reasonable things to do, and I think those are the things we need to adhere to. Okay? So that's key to me, is looking and being a watchdog and saying, we're not joining this group. Don't let this group put pressure. I'll tell you, a lot of people are benefiting financially from that, and that makes me a little suspicious too. I know President Clinton and Al Gore on the national level, they got involved in this whole scheme because they are benefiting hugely. The profits are unbelievable from this green initiatives, and we need to be very, very careful about that. Finally, I want to leave you with this point. I'm running as Republican, because I'll tell you, the Republican ideals are right on. They are absolutely right on. And I get a little concerned that we have a lot of people saying, third party, go do independent. Folks, Republican Party, the ideals and the creed set forth in the Republican Party is right on. The problem is we're not following it. It's just like Christianity is correct. A lot of people don't follow it. So what do? Throw it? No. We need to adhere back to the Republican creed. And I just want to tell you, because some of you may not even know. 6 key points. Free enterprise system is the most productive supplier of human needs and economic justice. And here's where I take this awkward pause. Hold it.
You just lost that.
I just lost. My career's over. Free enterprise system is the most productive supplier of human needs and economic justice. That is absolutely correct. There is no better system. If you let government lead, it'll be disaster. And even on a small level like local politics, if you let government lead, we're in trouble. It's places like this restaurant and other places that are the entrepreneurs, the risk takers. That's what it's all about. And the Republican Party supports that. That's what they say. Equal rights and responsibilities for all. Hallelujah. I'm for equal rights, not for equal outcomes. And if we're giving any money in Roanoke County to help this person or that person, that's not the role of government again. Okay? Everybody has equal rights, but they also have equal responsibilities, and I think that's huge. Fiscal responsibility and budgetary constraints, I already talked about it. I'll tell you, that's really a moral issue too, this whole fiscal issue. If you're in a household and you're spending your household and getting everything on credit cards, you're going to have a major reckoning one day, and it's going to ruin your family. I look around and I see why we have so much tension in America. A lot of this tension is economic tension. Is that everybody is so strapped, and they're angry and they're mad and they're upset because they can't have what somebody else has. There's envy, there's strife between different classes, rich against poor. This is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, we need, I think as families, we need to make sure that we got that under control too. Preserving individual liberty, that's the role of government, and that's what the Republican Party believes. Peace through strong national defense. You know, you can even bring this down to a local level. I think the most important things on the local level, we need to have safe streets, we need to be able to go out on our streets, and we need to have a good police, we need to have good fire and rescue. I thank my daughter, who's a volunteer for the Hollands Fire and Rescue for the last year or two. That's what we need. We need that structure so that we can go out and do business, right? That's the only role really government has, and you got the courts and those kinds of things. But really, I look at government, it's kind of like a referee in a game. Don't play the game, just kind of be there to ref it. Make sure that everybody's following the general rules. Don't start playing the game. And if a team is down by 50 points, don't start putting fouls on the other team so the other one can catch up. That's ridiculous. That's not the role, okay? And then the other thing is faith in God. This is interesting. You know, this is going to become a clash. Faith in God as recognized by our founding fathers. That's what the Republican Creed says. That little term, as recognized by our founding fathers. Our founding fathers were Christian. This was a Christian nation. It was built on that. I don't see all the Muslim transcripts, the Hindu transcripts. I don't see those. I may have missed a big chunk of world history or American history, but it really is, we're a Christian nation. So it's very, very important that that's exactly where we stand. Because if we don't, all of this is fruitless. Okay? We need to make sure that we stay on the right course. Okay, I told you it's going to be short and sweet. It is. 5 of 10. Which politician would actually do that? Isn't it great? Isn't it? Right on time. Leave you one final challenge, and this week we do need help. Yard signs, bumper stickers, those that can help financially would be great. You know, I always tell everybody, I don't ask anybody to do anything I wouldn't do. So when I start off our campaign, I put some money in the till and say, okay, let's go. Nothing big, but just enough to get going. That's what everybody needs to do. I think that's what we need to do to make it going. We're going to need the yard signs and bumper stickers, like I said, and get out there and get the word out to people that, hey, we need to support this candidate because these are the things that we need to do. So that's really where I need everybody's help to make this a successful campaign. And I would appreciate it very much. And I just thank you for all of you that turned out. It's a real blessing to me. Any advice you can give me, any encouragement you can give me, I'm always open. My ears are always open if we can do government better, even at a local level. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.